You've probably heard me talking about this self-sufficient living skills bundle that's been going on. And I have been spending the last week flipping through so many of the incredible resources within this bundle. Now, I will say there's a lot. There's over 118 different ebooks and courses and lessons sharing incredible wisdom and knowledge with you so you can live off the land and you don't have to rely on this corrupt and broken system for everything for your family. Anyways, I wanted to share some of my favorite things. One, first off, is off-grid homeopathy. This course is loaded with so much incredible knowledge, talking about homeopathy for first aid, for colds and flu, how to make your own homeopathic remedies. Like, as an herbalist who loves to teach that stuff, that's pretty exciting to hear it in the homeopathy realm. There's also some incredible fermentation guides, so many other amazing herbal recipes and food recipes, and how to make your own sourdough bread, how to do your own organic gardening and canning of all of your foods. Really, there is so much. And yes, I know. I've talked about it a ton, but this entire bundle is only $50 right now until Sunday, March 24th. I'm sharing my herbal first aid skills, which is a course that's $47 on its own. I'm sharing recipes that I used when I got my products into REI for herbal first aid kits and so much more. You'll have to check it out. I'm serious. Like, you can absolutely change your life with this bundle. So there is a link in the show notes for you, and I hope you check it out. I hope you take advantage. Don't worry, you don't have to go through everything right away. You can access everything for up to a year. Once you're in the course or have the download, it's yours for life. It is a steal of a deal. Okay, self-sufficient living skills bundle in the links for you.
I tried this herb for this thing and it didn't work. Well, the reality is that sometimes herbs just don't work for people, and there can be so many reasons why. So in this episode, I wanted to chat about why some herbs may not work for you, even when you really want them to.
Hello and welcome to the Herbalist Path, a podcast where you'll discover how to make your own herbal remedies at home so that you can take better care of yourself, better care of your family, and better care of our planet. I'm Mel. I'm a clinical herbalist, environmental educator, and mountain living mama with this crazy passion for teaching more mamas and their little loves how to use plants as medicine in a safe, effective, and tasty way so that there can be an herbalist in every home. Again, it's an absolute honor to have you on the journey down the herbalist path with me so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers.
Hey, how's it going? I am so happy to be recording this episode right now because I had planned to record it last week. And then after 2.5 years, I finally got my first dose or battle with COVID. And man, oh man, did it get me. It got me good. So you might hear it a little bit from time to time as I'm talking throughout this episode, but I'm still so excited to share this with you because it really is a question that comes up so often for me. Hey Mel, what herb do I take for this? Or what herb do I take for that? Or I've got XYZ kind of disease and what herb works for me. And, you know, it's funny because herbs don't work that way. And we're really trained to think that they do in our society of Western medicine being dominant. We're trained to think like you take this for that and everything's great, right? But that's not exactly how it works in the land of plant medicine. It really comes down to being both the science of herbalism mixed in with the art of herbalism. And for me, I like to consider it a lot of the fun of the art and science of herbalism. And the truth is there's a ton of ways and reasons why herbs may or may not work for you. So today I'm going to focus on some of the major ones that have an impact in this situation. And one huge one is that you might be doing the shotgun approach to herbalism. So what do I mean by that? I mean, let's say you have a sore throat, like you may hear in my voice right now, and you're like, oh man, I've got a sore throat. I'm going to Google it. What should I use? And you go to Google and you see this list of like 15 herbs for the throat. And you're like, great. I have them all. I'm going to throw them all in the pot and voila, everything's going to be great, right? But that's not how it really works. When you get really good at becoming kind of precise at targeting an herb to your specific needs, it can get really much more effective when you're choosing plant medicine. So you might want to start looking into the energetics of the herbs and the symptoms and that unique person. It really all takes a lot of practice, but eventually it becomes an inner knowing. So you hear something happens to somebody and you're like, boom, that's inflammation. It's hot. I need a cooling herb. Okay. And it's dry. Oh my gosh, I need a moistening herb. And like you just know, and you know what herbs to turn to. But again, that's after a lot of years of getting to know the plants that you keep in your tool chest and how to use them and how they can help you or other people. Another reason herbs may or may not work for you has a lot to do with the quality of the herbs. So unfortunately, it's true that there's a lot of poopy quality herbs out there. So, I caution you from ordering your herbs from Amazon or whatnot, because some of those people on there are just out to make a quick buck. If you know the company already and you know it's a good seller on Amazon, then your chances are better. There's certain companies I would buy on Amazon for sure, but I know them already and I know about the quality of their herbs. So how could herbs be of a bad quality? Well, maybe they weren't grown organically. I think that organically grown herbs are very important. Maybe there's just no care or love on the farm and they're like, oh, here's the seed in the ground. Who cares? No acknowledgement and like just fostering the energy of that plant to make its amazing medicine. That can make a huge impact. In fact, I've seen the difference from farms that are like miles from each other. One that just has the most beautiful plant medicine and the same plant, like lemon balm, for instance. I'll get it from one farm and I can still see the shapes of the leaves and the fragrance of the lemon balm just permeates the air like no other. Like I'll see the lemon balm and it will have this beautiful shape. I can still identify it and the color of green is deep and rich and the smell of the lemon balm permeates the air. It's so heavenly. And then I'll go to the farm that's a few miles down the road and I'll be looking at their lemon balm and it's kind of a more faded ashy green and the smell is nowhere near as amazing and they're still a good farm. But it just goes to show, like sometimes if you can buy from a smaller local farmer, they don't necessarily have the time and energy because they're working their booties off, but they got the love and the passion to grow the best medicine. So that can make a huge difference. And then sometimes the herbs are just old. They've been hanging out on a shelf in a warehouse somewhere and they're starting to turn to that grayish green ashy color if it's a green herb. They're losing their life. They're losing their energy. They're losing their medicinal potency. So ideally, herbs are used before 2 years. It's a rough situation when you get herbs that are no good because then you start to think that herbs don't work and you might end up, going down back the other way and heading to the drugstore all the time instead, which is totally not what we're looking for, right? We want to make better choices and choose to use herbs and plants as medicine because they're better for you and they're better for our planet too. Anyways, another really big reason that an herb may or may not work for you is that you may not be using the right menstruum. So what's a menstruum? It's basically a solvent like alcohol, water, honey, vinegar, fats and oils. All of these things are different solvents that help you to extract a constituent from a plant. And the reality is that the plants have so many different medicinal uses And it's the medicinal constituents that make them work. But not all constituents are created equal, and neither are all solvents. And what I mean by that is that sometimes a constituent is soluble in water, and sometimes it's soluble in fats and oils. Some constituents are soluble in alcohol, and so on. I think you might get the point by now. So if you're not using the right kind of solvent to extract the constituents or the medicine, it's not going to work so well for you, unfortunately. I know this may sound really super complex, and it is. But once you get the hang of it, it's not all that bad. And I know that most of us, especially us mom types, don't always have the time or the energy to figure it out. So I break this stuff down so you don't have to think about it inside my new program, Apothecary Mama, which I'm so excited. We've finally started doing our first live lessons, and I love teaching the live lessons just because it's so fun to connect. Anyways, another reason that herbs may or may not work for you is just because it may not be the right herb for you. Here's the thing. Just because an herb works for your friend or your daughter or your father or whoever does not mean that that herb is going to work for you. And so, like I was saying, in our world, we're dominated by Western medicine. We're taught that you can take this pill for that problem and everything will be fine, right? Well, minus that really long list of side effects that they read to you really, really quick that you can't really understand. Yeah. Anyways, it tends to make people think of herbs that way as well. And like I was saying before, I get asked that question of, hey Mel, what herb do I take for XYZ? And yeah, it doesn't work that way. While an herb can have an affinity for a particular body part or condition, it's still not always the one for you. And that's when you get into the herbal energetics and your whole health history and are you on any medications? And really, it's just a much, much, much deeper topic than I'm going to discuss today in this podcast. Because as you can hear, my voice is cracking. I've got a dry, raspy, sore throat due to that darn Rona. So I'm taking a cooling, moistening, mucilaginous cup of tea to soothe my throat and coat my throat. I tossed in some of my favorites of licorice root, marshmallow root, fennel, and elecampane. And that right there is a very short lesson in herbal energetics. And you know, when I caught the Rona on Tuesday, I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had it in 2.5 years. This is so cool. My immune system's amazing. I'm so proud of it. This is so great. Is it the plants? Is it my immune system? What is it? And man, yeah, it really, really got me good. And it got my partner too. And we were sleeping for 3 days straight. But it's times like this that I am so grateful that I have an abundance of herbs and I have the knowledge of how to use them. And if you are wanting to start to use more herbs in your family, I do have a free class coming up. I would love for you to join. It's all about starting your natural medicine kit without spending tons of money because it can get expensive fast. And anyways, the reality is you can start to do it with just a few select herbs and start learning the many, many different ways you can use each one of those herbs as medicine. Anyway, I go much deeper into it in the class. It's pretty fun. I'll link to it in the show notes, and I would love to see you in there. Okay, that's it, my friend. These are some of the main reasons herbs may or may not work for you. Of course, there could be many, many more reasons in there, but without, you and I working together individually in a consultation and a full health assessment and all of those variables, I can't go that deep. Anyways, I hope this episode was helpful and is maybe starting to clear up a bit of the confusion for you around using herbs, and maybe it left you even more confused. I don't know, but I do know that for me, the more I learn about herbs, the more I learn that I need to know more. It's a never ending study, and that's so much why I love it. So, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on herbs and share my love and passion and joy with you. I again hope it was really helpful, and if you can, leave me a review. Thanks. Bye.
It has been so much fun and so, I don't know, joyous watching all of my medicinal plant friends popping up in my garden, from the elecampane to the comfrey and the arnica. I love seeing these friends pop up. And if you are still trying to decide what to grow in your medicinal herb garden, you've got to grab my guide. It's all about the most essential herbs that every mom should know and should grow. So I teach you how to grow them and the many different ways that you can use them. If you want to grab the guide, go ahead. It's free, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of delight and use out of it. And there's a link to it in the show notes. I'm wishing you tons of happy medicine planting.